the war on Iran had a quieter second front. Nobody talked about it. Nobody claimed it. Across the deserts of Iraq, Saudi fighter jets were hunting Iran-backed militias on the ground, the same militias raining drones on Riyadh. Rockets were flying from Kuwait too. A 2023 peace deal was supposed to make this impossible. The desert had other ideas. The Iran war officially began on February 28th with US and Israeli strikes on Tehran. What happened next, across the deserts of Iraq and the Gulf, stayed quiet for months. It is only now coming to light. Reuters has confirmed that Saudi fighter jets struck targets belonging to Iran-backed Shia militias inside Iraq during the war. The strikes hit sites near Saudi Arabia's northern border, the same sites from which drones and missiles were being launched at Riyadh and other Gulf states. Some of those strikes took place around the time of the ceasefire. Saudi Arabia was not alone. Rocket attacks were also launched from Kuwaiti territory into southern Iraq on at least 2 occasions in April, killing several militia fighters and destroying a Kataib Hezbollah communications and drone facility. Whether those rockets were fired by Kuwaiti forces or the US military, which maintains a large presence in Kuwait, is anyone's guess.
Rocket attacks were launched on at least 2 occasions from Kuwaiti territory on Iraq. One set of strikes hit militia positions in southern Iraq in April, killing several fighters and destroying a facility used by Iran-backed militia Kataib Hezbollah for communications and drone operations.
Hundreds of the drones that pounded Gulf states during the war had been launched from Iraqi soil. Both Riyadh and Kuwait City had warned Baghdad through diplomatic channels as far back as March to rein in the groups. Baghdad did not. Kuwait summoned Iraq's representative 3 times over cross-border attacks, including the storming of its consulate in Basra on April 7th. Saudi Arabia summoned Iraq's ambassador 5 days later. Neither protest produced results, and both countries eventually took matters into their own hands. The militias, for their part, have not stood down. Iranian-backed groups are still flying surveillance drones along Iraq's borders with Kuwait and Saudi Arabia, gathering intelligence on what was damaged and what still stands.
They are gathering information on what has been damaged and what is still working. They are preparing for the next strike.
A Saudi Foreign Ministry official offered carefully chosen words in response, saying the kingdom sought de-escalation and the reduction of tensions. The strikes in Iraq went unaddressed. What is also now confirmed is that Saudi Arabia struck Iranian soil directly during the war, the first time Riyadh is known to have done so. The UAE carried out similar strikes on Iran as well. A China-brokered peace between Riyadh and Tehran in 2023 was supposed to have made all of this unthinkable. Turns out, it wasn't. For almost 10 weeks, a shadow war had been playing out across the Middle East, one that the world's major powers have been slow to acknowledge and even slower to explain. Reuters has reported that Saudi Arabia launched multiple covert strikes on Iranian soil in late March, making it the first time the kingdom is known to have taken direct military action against its longtime rival. 2 Western officials and 2 Iranian officials confirmed the attacks, which were carried out by the Saudi Air Force. One said only that they were tit-for-tat strikes in retaliation for when Saudi Arabia was hit.
We reaffirmed Saudi Arabia's consistent position advocating de-escalation, self-restraint, and the reduction of tensions in pursuit of the stability, security, and prosperity of the region and its people.
The strikes did not happen in a vacuum. Since the United States and Israel launched airstrikes on Iran on February 28th, Tehran hit all 6 Gulf Cooperation Council states with missiles and drones, targeting not only American military bases, but also civilian sites, airports, and oil infrastructure. The Strait of Hormuz was closed, choking global trade. Saudi Arabia had long relied on Washington for its defense, but this war exposed the limits of that arrangement. By March 19th, Saudi Foreign Minister Prince Faisal bin Farhan was already signaling a shift, telling reporters in Riyadh that the kingdom reserved the right to take military action if it deemed it necessary. 3 days later, Iran's military attaché and 4 embassy staff were expelled from Riyadh. Then came the strikes. What followed was a quiet but consequential back channel. Saudi Arabia warned Tehran of further retaliation while keeping diplomatic lines open. The two countries reached an informal understanding to pull back, days before Washington and Tehran agreed to a broader ceasefire on April 7th.
Retaliatory Saudi strikes on Iran, followed by an understanding to de-escalate, would show pragmatic recognition on both sides that uncontrolled escalation carries unacceptable costs.
The numbers bear this out. In the week of March 25th through 31st, more than 105 drones and missiles struck Saudi territory. By April 1st through 6th, that number had fallen to just over 25. One Iranian official confirmed the de-escalation agreement, saying it aimed to cease hostilities and prevent further escalation. Saudi Arabia's own framing came from former intelligence chief Prince Turki al-Faisal, who wrote that when Iran tried to drag the kingdom into what he called the furnace of destruction, Saudi leadership chose to absorb the pain rather than risk its people. A war fought in secret, perhaps on the centuries-old Islamic sectarian lines, contained by back channels and acknowledged by almost no one until now. And the silence, next time, may not hold. While the world watched the US and Israel strike Iran, someone else was quietly joining in. According to a report by the Wall Street Journal, the United Arab Emirates has been carrying out its own military strikes on Iran, making Abu Dhabi the only other country to enter the war as an active combatant. The strikes, never publicly acknowledged by the UAE, included an attack on an oil refinery on Iran's Lavan Island in the Persian Gulf in early April, around the time US President Trump declared a ceasefire. Iran knew it had been hit. Tehran said at the time the refinery had come under enemy attack, then fired a barrage of missiles and drones at the UAE and Kuwait in response. What Iran may not have fully reckoned with was why. The country had made the UAE its single biggest target in the entire conflict, launching more than 2,800 missiles and drones at the Gulf state, more than it fired at Israel. The attacks battered Emirati airports, tourism and property markets, triggering mass layoffs and fundamentally changing how Abu Dhabi sees Tehran.
It's significant to have a Gulf Arab country as a warring party that struck Iran directly. Tehran will now aim to further drive a wedge between the UAE and other Gulf Arabs who are trying to mediate an end to the war.
Washington, for its part, was not displeased. One person familiar with the matter told the Journal that the US had quietly welcomed UAE participation after other Gulf states refused to join the fight. The UAE's Air Force, equipped with French Mirage fighters, advanced F-16s, refueling aircraft, and surveillance drones, gave it capabilities few in the region could match. Researchers tracking open-source imagery had pointed to what appeared to be Emirati aircraft operating over Iran weeks before the Journal's report.
If you have that capable of an air force, why would you sit back and absorb attacks from Iran without responding?
The UAE's foreign ministry has declined to comment, pointing instead to previous statements asserting its right to respond militarily to hostile acts. the Pentagon said nothing at all. But in a war already short on certainty, one thing is now clearer. The map of who is fighting whom just got bigger.